Hi everyone, welcome to Calvin's Tailoring Tips.
Hi everyone, I'm going to show to you how to let out a child's waist and then taking it back in. And to let it out by 1 inch, I'm going to open it, and from the stitch mark, I'm going to mark half an inch from the stitch point. So it's going to be half an inch this side, half an inch the other side, letting it out to 1 inch. All the way up, just mark it. What you can do to make sure you doesn't miss getting a perfect join here at the back center, you can take a pin and just pin it just like that to hold it in places, and then start your stitching from right where the pin is. Give it a back tack. This is just for demonstration purposes at the moment. And while you take out the waist, you will have to let out the hip as well. It all depends on how big the person's hip is. Unless when you let out the waist, the hip need letting out. You'll have a straight line from the seat here, come all the way and come join to where you're letting out this 1 inch. You can mark it to get a smooth line. You can just mark it just like that with a chalk, come all the way up, or you can just stitch it. Make sure your stitching is clean and straight. Take it from the seat, just gradually shape it off. Just give it a stitch straight up. Okay, and after you do that, the original cutting that is there to begin with, we're gonna take that out now. But because this is just a demonstration at the moment, I am only gonna put in one single stitch here, which I just complete. And what you do, you give it a double stitch, or you can go by it even 3 times, just to make the hip of the trousers more stronger. So you know, each time a person have on the trousers, keep sitting down, getting up, sitting down, getting up, this cotton here go through a lot of strain. So best to keep it with 3 rows of stitches. And then now you're ready. Open the seam with the iron to press it all out. So let's do that. Okay, so now I'm just doing that, pressing out in the back on the back seam. Just pressing out the back seam of the trousers. At this point, the raw edge at the top, you can just turn it back. Just turn it back inward. And just give it a press down. Just like that. Give it a top press. Then you check your trousers and you see the waistband, the join in the seam, you will see it all straight. When you pin it, just look neat and tidy. Okay, so now what you do next, with these trousers, they doesn't take a top stitch on the waistband from the outside. It does stitch down from the inside here with a blind hem machine. You can see where the blind hem machine used on this fabric here to keep the waistband down. If you have one of those blind hem machine, you can do the same. If you don't, well, this is what I do. When you let out the trousers waist and let out such little amount, tack it here on the back seam with this back seam here, and tack it there. And here, this fabric here, you tack it on the pocket as well, and just hem it. Just slightly pick it and give it a little hem all the way through back to this cotton, to this blind hem cotton. If you don't have one of those blind hem machine, you see a machine that you use to turn your trousers foot up. That's the machine you use to do this blind hem, and that's the way we let out a trousers waist. Now I'm going to take it back in. This time by about 2 inches or 2.5 inches. Okay, let's begin. To take in your trousers waistband is just the reverse process of letting it out. That's all it is. Just what you see I just done earlier, letting out the trousers waist, just reverse it back and your trousers waist will be taken. Okay, let's take it through it. As I said before, you pull the trousers waist out. I am going to take in the trousers waist for 3 inches. So what I will do, I will mark 1.5 inches this side. I will mark 1.5 inches all the way through. As I said, this is very easy work to do, letting out or taking in. Mark it 1.5 inches all the way through to the waistband. Get a pin and make sure you line up the waistband together there. You can see it. Make sure it join. Yeah, get a pin and just put it there. Keep it from not shifting. Yeah? Okay. Give it a bar tuck. Okay, and then you're gonna take in from the seat point here. Give it a bar tuck. You can use a chalk and just mark out, dotting out where you want your stitching line to be, all the way up. Yeah. This one you can let the I'm just gonna let the tension out because this is just demonstration work. Just bring it all the way up to that 1.5 inches stitch that you made. What happens once you let out a trousers waist or take in the trousers waist, you have to work on the hip as well. And it all depends how much of the hip you're gonna take in, because you have some person with really big hip and small waist. Like that. You can see my stitching, you can see my stitch line. Just come with a nice little curve all the way through to that 1.5 inches take in. Okay? And now the same process reverse, where I'm going to pull this cotton here, where you let the trousers waist out. This is the way you take it in back and press the seam out. Now you fold back the top here, you fold back the top just like this, just like that, fold it back. After you press the seam, open the seam, fold it back just like that, and turn it. And turn the waistband. Taking in is just a reverse process as you do when you're letting it out. Need some pressing out on the waistband after. You can see the joining there. That is important to make sure your joining is right. Okay? Even on the inside. You have no top stitching on the outside of this waistband. So lift up the lining here on the waistband. The underlining, just hold it together, this under fabric with that back seam. Just hold it together and give it a top stitch here. Okay. On the opposite side, you do the same thing on the opposite side. Okay? That's ready for pressing out and you're good to go. One thing you got to keep in mind here, where that lock stitch machine finish, you need to check the both sides just to make sure it's not pulling out, just to secure it. So this side here will pull, just like that. So you go, bring it back through, pull it back through by it one. What you do, you hold this bit here and you draw it back through and just tie, it will tie. Just like that, it will tie and it won't go no further. Okay? The opposite side, it won't move, because it just pull from that side, come out through to one side. This side will always be secure. Okay? And there you go. That's the way you take in a trousers waist and let out. Please share, like and subscribe. Thank you. Thank you.